Oh, what is that?
What is your relative description?
Okay, it's 7 o'clock, so I will call to order the monthly October meeting of the Wilton Town Board, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call.
Supervisor Johnson,
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Stryker,
Here.
Councilwoman Klepetar, Councilman Lamb,
Here.
Councilman McEachran.
Here.
Okay, this is the time in our meeting for public comment. And Julie, is there anybody signed to speak? Okay, we have Alan Ross, and Mr. Ross, if you would just come up here and just, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just come up to the microphone, state your name and your address, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name's Alan Ross. I live at 2980 Road in Wilton. And I think it's probably a little obvious why I'm here to talk tonight about pickleball at Gavin Park. I'm passionate about pickleball. I began playing pickleball and learning pickleball at Gavin Park 4 years ago this month. And it's a great game, a great physical exercise, really builds health and wellness, and actually since I started playing, I lost 25 pounds and kept it off. I play pickleball year-round, indoors and outdoors. I'm sure to many of you, you're probably saying, what the heck is pickleball? It's a relatively new game, although it's been around since the mid-1960s. It's literally spreading like wildfire, particularly where there's any older population. You go to Florida, if any of you go during the winter time, and just mention the word pickleball, people will come around and talk to you. It's got many adherents in retirement communities and elsewhere, although it's also now spreading to our school districts. And all the physical education departments are starting to teach it to the kids. And I have 6 grandchildren and 5 school age, and they're already starting to play pickleball, and they love it. But at the last meeting of the town board decided that after January 1, Wilton residents will pay $3 and non-residents will pay $5 for indoor pickleball at Gavin Park. As a Wilton resident, I believe there really isn't a good justification for this, but it, in fact, will hurt pickleball at Gavin as we have come to enjoy it. This program, I happen to fall into maintaining an informal email list for pickleball players at Gavin. We have over 110 people on our email list. We average 20 people every single day, Monday through Friday. Not the same 20 people, but from that 100 people or so. And it has been operating there for at least 10 years. I've been playing, as I said, for the last 4. While there are other interests that pickleball players have regarding the future of pickleball at Gavin Park, I'm going to confine my comments tonight to the matter of pickleball player fees. First, the town and Gavin, I'll use Gavin as a short form for the park, does not need any increase in fees, as pickleball has and will continue for the foreseeable future to pay for itself. At $3 per person per day, which has been as long as I've been playing there, a conservative calculation indicates that pickleball players generate $1,200 a month, or $9,000 for the 7.5-month indoor season. Second, there is no need for a higher fee for non-residents because they do not take playing opportunities from residents, and they do not use up any appreciable town resources. In fact, non-residents contribute to the enjoyment of resident players by being here. not to mention their financial contribution to the outdoor windscreen, which was installed this past summer. We also play on the tennis courts outdoors, and I believe that was approximately $650 expenditure to which many of the players contributed. And they also contribute, non-residents contribute to the local economy when they're here. They go shopping afterwards or before. They do breakfast or lunch before or after. Third, as pickleball players, especially seniors, know, there is no other activity that provides the healthy exercise and social camaraderie they experience when playing at Gavin Park. That, among other reasons, is why we Wilton residents and non-residents come to play at Gavin rather than to go elsewhere. Fourth, pickleball, not just the game itself, but the manner in which it is played, taking playing turns on court, rotating players, mixing and matching levels, is unique. The way the game has been played all over the country especially suits seniors, which is why it is becoming increasingly popular wherever our aging population is found. Comparing pickleball to other activities is like comparing apples to oranges. Comparing Gavin indoor pickleball to other indoor pickleball programs is like comparing different varieties of apples. The characteristics of each indoor pickleball location varies according to hours, fees, number of courts, etc., as does the taste, texture, color, etc. of apples. They aren't and don't need to be the same, nor should they. Indoor and outdoor pickleball at Gavin has earned a reputation as a really good place to play that has been successful in many ways for the players, Gavin Park, and the town of Wilton. We'd like you to please keep it that way. I'd like to say, as you've heard in other things, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we'd like to have the board please keep the fee at $3 for everyone. Thank you for listening to our concerns, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Mr. Ross, and
Yes,
I
thank
think
you.
we're certainly happy that you and the other pickleball players, residents or non-residents, enjoy Gavin Park. That's a great thing. We want everybody to enjoy Gavin Park. So,
Might I ask, how many board members have actually played pickleball? Terrific, terrific.
I should be. I'm a senior.
You're all invited. You know, it's mostly seniors, although we have a handful of young people in their 40s and 50s. But it's a great activity for health and wellness. So we invite all of you to come join us Monday through Friday, 9:30, 11:30, both gyms at Gavin Park.
Okay. Thank you. We won't be making a decision tonight, but we certainly listen to your comments, appreciate your comments, and hopefully, you enjoy Gavin Park. I know you do, and your passion for pickleball. So we'll certainly consider your comments. We will look at those, and we'll bring it back up for discussion at a future meeting. So,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank
you.
And feel free to contact us, any of us, at any time with input regarding that. But we appreciate you coming up, and especially your passion for the game, and we've listened to you.
We play at the firehouse, so.
I'm sorry?
We play at the firehouse.
Oh, you do?
Quite often.
Oh,
So
you
maybe we'll get together with your guys.
For those of you who aren't familiar, just real quick. This is pickleball. And this is a pickleball. It's played on a court the size of a badminton court. The net is about 3 inches lower than a tennis net. And the play is somewhat similar to table tennis, if you've ever played that. First to score, to 11, win by 2. So this is what we do.
But there's more running than table tennis.
A little bit more room, yes. I said it's the size of a
Does
badminton court.
Gavin have the paddles, or do you have to have your own?
Gavin provides a couple of wooden paddles, which are okay for beginners, but you'll get hooked on it very quickly. It's addictive. It's kind of like the adrenaline rush that runners get and other athletes. But we're old people, and this is a great activity. Less stress than tennis on your knees. I've had both knees replaced, and there are many players with hip replacements and so forth. We have, out of that 110 plus, over a dozen players in their 80s. The other morning I played with who we call Little Jack. He's 88 years old. He plays 2 mornings a week. He's tough. He laments that he had to give up racquetball at age 82, so now he's taking the effort.
No injuries, Alan?
What's that?
Not injury prone for our seniors to do that?
You know, there's
I was talking to Bill O'Donnell earlier today, and he hurt his arm.
Once a great while, there's a little once a great while, there's a little tumble. I've seen Bernie stretch himself out a little too far on occasion, but
10 years we've been.
but as I said, it's wonderful exercise. Again, I lost 25 pounds when I started 4 years ago, and the plan is to keep it off playing pickleball. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Well, thank you, Alan, and we will address your request.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have minutes pending from our September meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. There are no requests for changes or amendments. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Okay, in regards to our November town board meeting, election law requires that we do not pass a town budget before Election Day. So we will be moving the November town board meeting to the following Thursday, November 9th. Election Day is November 7th.
So I'll put forth a motion to move,
We need a motion?
it says here, I put motion.
Okay.
I'll put forth a motion to have our next November town board meeting, November 9th, 2017.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Okay, next, our emergency traffic guide and resource inventory, and we have Larry Gordon here tonight, which everybody knows Larry Gordon. This is something that Saratoga County Emergency Services has requested every town to develop a plan, and Larry is our emergency services coordinator, and I asked him to put together this inventory, or this plan. He's done a terrific job with it tonight, but I want to ask Larry if he would just briefly tell us what the plan is about and the purpose of it and how it helps the town and its residents regarding emergencies.
I don't play pickleball.
Good thing.
Okay. Last April, or actually it was March, last March, the State Office of Emergency Services, Homeland Security, as well as the county, asked all the towns if they would prepare a emergency traffic plan. Basically, in short, when you close a highway, what do you do? And that relies upon what happened, what is it, where is it, and what are we going to do about it. And some of the solutions are very logical. Obviously, shortly after April, Northway's been closed between here and 17 3 times, but this is not unusual. We've had the fire company close Ballard Road during a propane incident, and things work along pretty smoothly unless you're waiting for traffic to move at a snail's pace. We put this together, but we didn't call it a plan. We called it a guide and a resource management inventory, because you don't really know what's going to happen. And so in here, there's a whole bunch of information that the players, your fireman, ambulance, your town highway superintendent, town engineer, other people, can make decisions along with the state police and New York State DOT, who are, because the 4 major paths we have in our town is US Route 9, New York 50, Interstate 87, and CP Rail. And if any of those things have an incident, we've got to be prepared. Our town has been pretty well prepared, because this is not new to us. Normally, we think of incidents as summertime thunderstorms or winds or tornado warnings or things like that. In the winter, obviously ice storms, and they close roads. And we've done pretty well over the past number of years with all of those. I would like to thank the town clerk's office, Julie and Karen and Sue, for putting this together. I just ran around and got the names, but they knew how to put this together. I'm trying to think of some other things that are important. The town is not new to this. We've had a number of studies in the past number of years. We have the reverse 911. We have a contract with the Gavin Park with the Red Cross for shelter. We have 2 or 3 different communication systems. We can talk directly from the town directly into the 911 center. So things are pretty good. One important thing is everything you do out there, even though it's an emergency, costs money. You have to pay for what you do, whether it's your own employees, overtime, obtaining barricades, and all those kinds of things. So Kirk and Jeff stay on top of that aspect of it because we want to keep track of every little cost, because there is a time when you can get reimbursed from federal or state aid for that. So the players pretty much know who they are. Example, you have Sue, who is the town's public information person. The town building inspector is the fire marshal, as well as my assistant. So with all that, I think we can handle pretty much everything. We have 2 great fire departments, an ambulance corps that was early on as far as emergency services, and all these things evolve around people working together. There is one hitch in this. If something is so big, then the town board has to act and might have to approve a emergency declaration for relocating people and things such as that. Under certain conditions, they might have to do that to close a certain highway. But things are running okay. And with that, I'll answer any questions and be on my way. I've got to catch a plane.
Good. Larry, thank you. If there's no questions, I want to thank Larry again for Larry's experience in putting this together. You know, it's been great, and it's kind of a perfect segue. I was going to mention it later on under other business or reports, but we just found out that we received through FEMA $46,000 from that storm back in March, where Kirk and his group documented costs, and we submitted a FEMA request, and we just found out that we're going to receive $46,000 back from that. So, and again, that's through efforts like Larry and having these plans in place. So, Larry, thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Safe flight.
Where are you going?
He's picking up.
Where are you going?
Actually, I'm picking up my sister, who comes here in the fall to see the Ames tribe.
Okay, next, number 7, we have Kennedy Run Extension is a proposed subdivision at the end of Gaylor Road, and Joe Danable is here from EDP to talk about a drainage district for that particular parcel. You may recall that we have a similar drainage district for Olson Farm subdivision. So, Joe, go ahead.
Sure. Be somewhat brief with this. This is a project located at the end of Gaylor Road. It's Canyon Run. It's a 44-lot subdivision. It has received a preliminary approval and a negative seeker determination from the Town of Wilton Planning Board. We've also obtained all necessary New York State DEC and Army Corps of Engineers permits for the construction of this project. One of the last things we need to do in order to finalize this and get a final approval from the planning board is petition the town board for the formation of a taxing district for the drainage improvements we're proposing on the project. We're proposing a subsurface drainage system that will discharge to a bed and bank stream. Again, it's received all appropriate permits. The purpose of the taxation district is so that no residents other than the residents directly benefiting from the installation of this drainage district district pay for the annual maintenance and ultimate replacement at some point in time of this system. With that, I can answer any questions you may have. Ultimately, we're going to need a public hearing and determination from this board for the formation of that district.
Now, were you involved with the Olson Farm one?
Yes, my firm was. I was indirectly involved.
Yeah. And Ryan, it seems to be working over there because of the high water table. This alleviates any particular issues with basement flooding and that type of thing?
Correct. We haven't had any questions or comments on basements being flooded or any issues with it so far. It's not complete. The subdivision is still under construction, but from the existing residents.
Right. So if I understand it, it would work similar to that, where those homeowners in there would pay a fee to the town for this, under this drainage district, which, Jeff, from any problem with collecting those fees or anything?
Comes all through the taxes.
County tax bill.
You just keep it in the special account. It's all special district account.
So what I'm looking for tonight is to set a public hearing to approve the drainage district?
Well, you first need to get a map plan, or a formal map plan and report from the applicant's representative. If you get a map plan and report and Ryan reviews that and he's comfortable with it, then you would schedule a public hearing.
Okay.
I think this is just a testing the water, no pun intended.
Yeah. Any questions or concerns by the board on?
Not my area.
So,
As long as Ryan's...
so at this point, there's no action taken, it's just engineer's review of the district and the plan.
I think Kirk's got a question.
Kirk, yeah?
I have a question on this Canyon Run project. Maybe it's not the right time to ask it, but is the town going to require a full-time inspection on this project before it's approved by the planning board? Or don't the town board have to do it?
Well, that's up to the planning board, I believe, but...
Yeah, I can address that. As part of the preliminary approval, it has been required that a full-time inspector be on site during the construction of the roads and the subsurface drainage system we were talking about.
Okay.
So who pays for that?
The developer.
The developer.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you. I think the plan is for Joe and...
Yeah, they'll submit
and
plans, the fees.
EEP to go through the plans with you.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is a bid award. We have a plan to construct, which is part of this year's budget, an equipment storage building on the town's property, and we did go out to bid. Actually, the building department is going to be doing the construction of it, so this is just the building package itself, right, Ryan?
Yes.
Correct, just a building.
So we sent out the bid, and we received some bids. Do you want to open the bids?
They were open,
Okay.
and Mark Likens suggested that we take the low bidder from Munter Enterprises for $68,735.
Okay, this is funded in the budget, right, Jeff?
Yes.
And the building department's going to actually we're going to be saving a lot of money with the town building crew actually erecting this structure.
So what was it, President?
$68,735. Roselle was $73,150.
What size building was it?
It was a 40 by 150 galvanized pre-engineered building.
Building for the future.
So would someone like to,
I'll put forth a motion per Mark Miken's recommendation that we take the lowest bid of Munter.
I'll second that.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Thank you. Croft Farm Road dedication, specifically Conklin Court. this you, Ryan, and council? And highway?
Yeah, WJ Morris, they constructed the road in compliance with all town standards and in good shape. So if the town board so chooses, we can accept dedication of the road.
Then if you do that, we'll suggest that their motion just include in the form, with the documents in a form acceptable to town council, to the town highway superintendent, and the town engineer.
I was going to make that motion.
The credit amounts and reduction.
Any questions for Ryan or Mark?
No.
Okay, so someone want a motion to accept Conklin Court subject to the conditions as Council Schachter
I'll make a
suggested?
motion. Like to make a motion that the town accepts the Craw Farm Road, and with the stipulation that the forms are acceptable to both the town attorney and the engineer for the town.
And the highway superintendent, I would suggest.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Any
That's
opposed?
Conklin Court.
Conklin Court. Okay.
Okay, motion's carried. Item 10, solar energy law. This has been going on for several months. It's been distributed to all of us. We had a public hearing last month. There were a couple, we had Town Attorney Schachter make a few minor revisions to it. We got the final draft to that today. So I'd be looking for a motion to approve that solar energy law.
Actually, first you'll be looking to conduct
Oh.
review under the New York
Oh,
State
you
Environmental
need-
Quality Review Act.
Okay. I love that process.
As you should.
Do you want to take us through that?
Sure. And as Art just said, I had maybe 5 suggested revisions last month. All 5 have been made. I believe it's a very appropriate piece of legislation, assuming you all like the policies, and I think you do. So it is subject to the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, reviewing the potential environmental impacts. There's no shortage of irony for a law like this to be subject to review of potential environmental impacts, but nonetheless, it is subject to the law. The environmental assessment form has been completed, and the narrative description in reference to potential environmental impacts is that the action will incorporate local zoning regulations for the use of solar energy generating systems. The zoning provisions will advance and protect the health, safety, and welfare of the community. The environmental resources that may be affected could potentially include harvesting of timber to create open space for installation of ground-mounted solar system, and the notion that taking advantage of this renewable and non-polluting energy resource, meaning the solar, is generally an environmentally beneficial action. I think the town engineer prepared that environmental assessment form. As long as you agree with that, you can endorse that and we can proceed. And we have to address 11 questions of potential environmental impact. Again, it's sort of a silly exercise. I think that's what Art's getting at for something like this, but it is subject to this law. So I can read the questions, and for each you can answer whether you think that either, there's just 2 choices. It sounds like more, but there are 2 choices. The first choice is that no or small impact may occur. That's all one choice. No impact or small impact is one choice. The second choice is a moderate to large impact may occur. So it sounds like 4 choices, but it's only 2 choices. And the questions are as follows. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations?
No.
No.
Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land?
No.
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 Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
No.
Question 4 has to do with critical environmental areas, and we don't have any designated in the town of Wilton, so there's no need to address question 4. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
No.
Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities?
No.
Just the opposite,
Yeah.
actually. Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies?
No.
Public or private wastewater treatment utilities?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
No.
Will the proposed action result in any adverse change to natural resources such as wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, or fauna?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? And lastly, will the proposed action create any hazard to environmental resources or human health?
No.
So having answered all the questions, no, you can, in one motion or two, you can adopt what's called a secret negative declaration, meaning a determination that there are no potentially significant adverse environmental impacts, and you could either in the same motion or a second motion, you could consider adoption of the model solar energy law.
Do you have a preference, Mark, to do?
Do not, don't care.
Okay, I'm doing one. Accept the seeker
Negative declaration.
deck and approve the solar energy law.
Yep.
You make that motion, John?
I'll make a motion, we accept the secret negative declaration and impose a solar energy law.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Yay.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Somebody has a question?
I've been an environmentalist for years. I am in favor, of course, but you said a lot, and is it on the website, learn more about this? On the
The solar law?
Yeah.
It is on the website.
Okay.
And we can provide a copy for you before you leave if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second, and all in favor, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to thank, Ryan and actually the zoning, I think Joanne's on that too.
I'm on that.
Steve?
On, putting together this law, and of course Mark's input. So thank all of you for your input.
Thank you. We got a good team.
Okay, next, 2018 tentative budget. It's that time of year again. It's budget time for 2018. So, my proposed tentative budget for 2018 totals $8.2 million. It represents a 0% increase from this year's 2017 budget. It is a balanced budget. It means that our anticipated revenues will cover all our anticipated budget expenditures. Unlike some communities, there is no use of surplus or fund balance to balance the budget. We have revenues to cover the entire expenditures in the budget. All current programs and services are funded at the same level as 2017. All departments pretty much have the same level of funding. A couple of key points I just want to talk about. That represents 36 years, no town tax, no highway tax. I think that's a great accomplishment for this board and prior boards. Again, it's a 0% increase. And this board recognizes the importance of infrastructure and road improvements. So the Highway Department road improvements is funded at the same level as last year, $900,000. Kirk in his Highway Department has done a tremendous job using those funds. He's kept up to date with all the roads, and we're pretty much all up to date with all roads that need to be improved at this time, and that $900,000 will continue to keep up to date with the roads that need to be addressed. Some other items in the highway budget that, it's not actually the highway budget, but it deals with the highway department, is the repair of the placement of the salt loading area out back. That's where the trucks come up and load salt. It's really a general fund item, but it really affects the highway department. It is in disrepair, and we want, and somewhat of a safety concern, so we make sure that is replaced for next year. Also in the highway department, there's some new equipment requests and approved, a new truck and a roller that Kirk and his department needs for future paving of roads. In the Park and Recreation Department, there's a couple of items there that, for improvements, and that's the new Gavin Park Pavilion. The pavilion that's existing in the park now is old. It has been refurbished last year and is certainly still useful, but we feel with the park and the amount of people that use Gavin Park, a new pavilion would be useful, and it will serve two purposes. Besides the pavilion, it will be large enough to house the skating rink. We keep it undercover so that people can enjoy the skating rink without having to worry about the weather elements and the staff having to shovel off and do all those things necessary to keep that skating rink open. Also, there's new bathrooms proposed over there and a changing room, which with the splash park, there's a lot of new activity over there, and a lot of people coming, and some people don't come in prepared to go in the splash park, so it would be a good idea to have changing rooms. So there's code enforcement, the building department, they're getting a new vehicle as well. And of course, we have 2018 coming up, the bicentennial, and the budget contains sufficient funding to put on all those events, the 5 events that we'll be looking forward to having during the course of the year celebration for the bicentennial. There are some handouts out there. We've typically done this just for information purposes. For revenue purposes, for 2018, you'll see the big blue circle, 75% approximately, the sales tax revenue. Our biggest source of revenue. And the others are smaller, the mortgage tax, that's the state aid, the green portion, that's the next biggest item. Then, of course, we have fees from engineering fees and other fees generated through town services. So that outlay the revenue sources. As far as where the money is spent, is on the next chart. You can see government operations, that's salaries, benefits, all those types of things. So that's probably the major portion. And then, and actually it's the employee benefits on the right-hand side. Those are major, the two biggest items for expenses. And then comes to the left of that is Parks and Rec. And then you get into highway, which covers the last, actually, highway machinery, snow removal, general highway. So that just kind of outlines where our money is going to. So we will have, this is just a tentative budget. This town board will be having a workshop on the 18th at 4 o'clock. This is an open meeting. It's not a meeting for public input. It's a workshop for the town board. We will have a public hearing before the budget is adopted where we can hear from the public on any items within the budget. So Jeff and I will be available for any questions prior to the workshop. And if there's any questions now, I certainly, Jeff and I will be able to answer them now.
No, it looks like a great budget. Looks like you guys worked hard on it, and I'd like to say thank you. Definitely looking forward to the workshop on October 18th, and I know the Park and Rec is glad to be getting maybe some monies for new bathrooms and changing areas, because the bathrooms that we have are, I think, from the original date when they were first built at the park, so in the late 80s, so it'll be good to have some upgrades, especially for such how much growth we've had at the park, so, and the splash park, so it's definitely coming and needed.
Yeah, some of the things that, I mean, you may ask questions, there is for employees, there is a 2% cost of living increase for employees. There were some increases in health insurance and other costs, but certainly are all absorbed within the budget. So.
Jeff, is a 9% increase in health insurance premiums, is that about average? How much goes up every calendar year?
Average for the industry, but there's so many different plans out there nowadays that, with all the high deductible plans. But that's less than, I think last year was 12%, so.
Yeah, we're community rated, as opposed to self-insured. From what I've seen and talked to other supervisors in other towns, it's about average. Some see it, so a little bit, if they have a better plan, it could be higher increase, but on the average, it's about 10%.
That sounds like a lot of money, but I know things what they are.
That's not going to change
I know,
anything,
I know.
unfortunately.
I kind of wish the pickleball players stuck around for the notice of the increase and, just general.
Well, they'll certainly have an opportunity to.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so if not, we'll have the workshop on the 18th. I encourage all the board members to, if you have any, as you go through it, I know there's a lot of information in there, but if you have questions, contact me or Jeff. Oh, and so we do need to set a public hearing on the preliminary budget, which would be at, 7 o'clock before our November meeting, which is on the 9th. So I need a motion to set a public hearing for 7 o'clock on November 9th.
I'll make a motion that we set the public hearing for the November meeting on November 9th.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Okay, next, are there any committee reports?
I'd like to just report on the senior center and what a nice job the maintenance building and grounds did on the room that used to be used for ceramics. It looks beautiful over there.
Okay. Just in relation to the seniors, I believe their van is expected to be in another week.
Another week, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Anybody else? Just a couple of announcements for the Wilton Heritage Society. Their annual Apple Pie Social is Sunday, October 15th from 1 to 4. That's always a great event. Apple pie, wedge of cheese, and beverages for $5. And the other event that I think is really important is coming up this Saturday at Grand Cottage. They're doing an encampment up there, which brings in a lot of people through the town. There is a $10 admission charge, but they have a great lineup of agenda for that day. The county has chipped in and providing transportation vans to transport people because the parking up there is limited. And I was able to, through Department of Corrections, to have them allow additional parkings on some of their lots that is not behind gates. So they've agreed to that. So hopefully that'll all come out. And this is a big fundraiser for Grand Cottage. So I encourage anybody to attend that. It's
the times.
It's from 10 to 4. If there are no other committee reports, we'll move on. I thought I had something else, but anyway, announcements, but we'll go to the controller's report.
Okay, first one, the budget transfers that require town board approval.
What's that bookkeeping for, Joe?
During the 2017 budget, my bookkeeper We thought she was gonna retire halfway through the year, so we only budgeted about 75% of her salary, because she was gonna come back work part-time. Well, Pat's staying, so. Yeah, really. So I gotta add more money back into the budget to bring it back up to a full-time position.
And the repairs for the splash park, those are repairs that aren't covered under warranty, I'm taking it?
What we're doing there is we're taking money out of the splash park. There's money left over there. We're moving it over to parks maintenance for repairs and maintenance. I believe it's for irrigation, right? Yeah, they're using it for irrigation.
Yeah, it's not maintenance for the splash park.
Oh, okay. Now I understand, yeah.
I'll make a motion to transfer $32,150 for the highway for auto supplies.
We can do them all as a group.
Are you doing them all?
Let's do the 135.
Make a motion, we approve all the transfers.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion on any of the transfers? Okay, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, next
Motion
one has
carried.
to do with the JCAP grant program for the town court. Town court is requesting approval to apply for the 2017-18 Justice Court Assistance Program. This is a grant program providing up to $30,000 per court for a variety of purposes, including furniture, security equipment, improvements and renovations. Town board needs to have a resolution required authorizing the town court to apply and authorizing the town supervisor to execute all documents.
Make a motion, we apply for it once again.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and a second. Questions? Okay, all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
Okay, the next one has to do with the SAM grant. The town board needs to approve a resolution, the grant disbursement agreement with the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York in the amount of $125,000. This is for the construction of the playground and pavilion at Gavin Park, as well as the construction of bathrooms at Camp Saratoga, and to authorize the town supervisor to sign the agreement. Now, this has been going on for quite some time. However, the state just sent me the grant disbursement agreement. We've had approval letters in the past, but this is the actual legal document that the supervisor has to sign.
Yeah, we decided, when this grant was offered, we decided to upfront the money and get these things done, not waiting for the grant, because we know how long the state takes to do things. So we're finally getting to the point where we're going to get reimbursed for the money we spent for these particular items for the grant that we submitted.
I'll make a motion to approve the grant disbursement agreement with DASNY in the amount of $125.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved.
Okay, the last item has to do with disposal of town equipment. Scott Harrington from our maintenance department is requesting permission to dispose of a 6x10 NNT utility trailer. If it's approved, I'll auction off on Auctions International.
I'll put forth a motion.
Second it.
Motion and a second. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Just for informational, we did auction off that tractor, and with everything, the bids are closed now. We got like $4,600 for that old tractor.
Nice. Auctions International is working.
And just a note, as you see on the bottom of the agenda, the budgets are on file for the Greenfield Fire District and the Wilton Fire Department. And the emergency squad budget's in the booklet. And
Yes, it is, under special districts.
I have a quick question about the town court, the JCAP. How much money did we receive this past year from?
Like 3,000. Yeah. We were hoping that we could apply for some of the soft costs that we spent for the engineers and stuff like that, but it does not qualify as an expense. So it has to, the grant has to be applied to by someone in the court facility. So I'm not sure what they're gonna apply for this year. Probably furniture or maybe computers. It's up to them.
Thank you.
Okay. One last thing, I just want to thank Jeff and all the department heads for their input on the budget and their reasonable budget requests, and Jeff's helping me put the budget together. Is there any other business? Hearing none, motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you everyone for attending tonight.